Around the middle of 2016, me and my 6 other friends planned to climb to one of the mountains in Central Java, Indonesia, precisely on Mount Arjuno. Around 8 o'clock in the morning, we arrived at a village under Mount Arjuno. We deliberately chose a route that was anti-mainstream, so we immediately came to the village head house to ask for permission to pass that route. Upon after hearing our request, the village head forbade us to use that route, with the reason that we are not native here. Because we think that it will take a long time to go through the normal hiking trail, so we tried to convince the village head that we will maintain our attitude when passing that route. And finally, the village head reluctantly allowed us, on condition that we should be respectful and most importantly never spend the night at stops 4. He didn't say the reason though, just forbade us, and we agreed to the condition. We started our hike to the peak of Mount Arjuno around 1 PM. Everything went normally. The atmosphere was also cool because there were a lot of pine trees in the area. But what gave me the chills were there's a lot of small statues along the route used by locals to meditate and pray, according to the village head earlier. We continued our hike without caring too much about the statues. The day is getting dark, but we just only reached the stops 3. This hike has 7 stops, so it takes a lot of time to reach the top of Mount Arjuno. The 2 girls from my group are keeping saying that they are tired. So, I give the group suggestion to spend the night at stops 4. They immediately decline because we have been forbidden to sleep there. I say back to them that no one will know that we rest there, and tomorrow before dawn we will clean up right away and continue our hike. Maybe because of tired, my friends just kept quiet as if they agreed to spend the night at stops 4. But an hour later we arrived at stops 4. There was an inscription on the side of rock that read the number 4, which was already overgrown with vines. I thought that because here there are rarely people who pass by, so it is not maintained, and there is a post that looks like a patrol post for a temporary rest. Meanwhile, behind the post there is a fairly large and clean field. Why can't we rest at this beautiful resting place? I thought in my mind. We immediately divide the task so that there will be a place to rest by the night. It's 9 PM. We have finished setting up our tent and light the bonfire. When I was happily singing and talking in front of the fire with the others, suddenly a man appeared from the dark. That person had a white beard in a batik shirt and black pants while carrying a machete. We were all very surprised. Moreover, it's already late at night combined with someone holding a machete. The man, without further ado, immediately spoke in a high tone and scolded us to move and should not spend the night there. We looked at each other silently while cleaning things up to go up to the next stops. The bearded man still standing beside the post while watching us clean up our stuff until we were ready to go up to the stop 5. I told my friend to start the hike first because I'm still cleaning up the remnant of the bonfire earlier. It's been 10 minutes since they started without me. Finally, after making sure everything was clean, I apologized once again to the bearded man who's still standing beside the petrol post. He just nodded without saying a word. When I walked past the man, I smelled the scent of jasmine flower. I didn't think anything of it as I excused myself to the man. After a few steps, just to make sure, I looked back whether he was still there or not. Turned out that he's not there anymore. I got creeped out because it just doesn't make sense how he can disappear so fast. I shake it off and continue the hike alone, trying to catch up with my group who had hiked first. But there's something strange. Usually the forests at night are full of insect sound, wind and other forest sound, but this time it was different. It was totally silent. I started to feel that someone was watching me and following me from behind. Maybe it's already about an hour since I started the hike alone, but I don't know why I haven't reached my group yet, and I feel like I'm passing the same road over and over again. I then look for a rather large piece of wood and then stuck it on the side of the route to make sure am I really lost. I continued the hike again. 10 minutes of walking, I saw the wood that I plucked earlier. Why am I here again? I thought. Starting to get frustrated, I decided to go downhill and return back to the village. After a few minutes going down, I went back to the same wooden mark that I plucked. Panic began to consume me. Is it because I'm camping in the stop 4? Or is it only me who's being hidden? Many questions arise in my head. I'm desperate and tired. I sat right to my wooden sign. I look around me. Suddenly, from a hike route going down, a group of people wearing royal uniforms appear, carrying spears and torches. About 10 to 15 people. Passing right on the road beside me, I called them. They stopped and then looked at me without answering, and then they continued walking again through the darkness of the night. Who are they? Why are there people still wearing uniform like that? I baffled and don't know what to do about the sight that I just witnessed. I can only pray that help will come to me soon. Then I fell asleep beside the rock because I didn't know what else to do. Suddenly I woke up in the middle of the crowd. I thought that I finally was safe. I woke up and stand, but only to be in the middle of a night market. I'm confused. Moreover, that everyone in the market dressed like village people from the old times. Their faces are all pale without any expression. Then I was pushed from behind so hard that I fell. I surprised and get mad as I stand back and look behind me. But suddenly the place that was once a night market that are full of people changed to an empty field. I look around. It seemed like I know the location. This is stops far where we came earlier. But why did I see a market here? All of a sudden, many women's voices laughed shrilly that made me goosebump. But the laugh is so loud, it's like being in the midst of people who are laughing. I quickly ran away because I was scared. I don't know where to run. The important thing is to run away from the sound. Then I saw like a hut in the middle of the forest. I stopped there because I felt safe. Then, the hut that I thought was safe suddenly feels like shaking and being pushed by a lot of people till it's about to collapse. They giggle and laugh as they keep pushing the hut. I immediately ran out of the hut. Stupidly I look because of curious. And what I see beside the hut are many creatures that are crossbred between human and animals that are beyond human logic. The terror-stricken sight made my body tremble even more. I ran again as hard as I could until I finally returned to the rock where the wooden sign was. I sat and cried in genuine despair. Suddenly, a grandmother walked out from the dark. She walks toward me and stands in front of me. While looking me in the eye, she says something to me. She says that I should listen to what villagers told me because this place is full of mystical creatures. She eventually told me how to get out of this place. She told me to find a water source and do ablution, and then go back here to the rock and sleep. I just nodded to everything she says while lowering my head down, but when I look up, the grandmother was gone. I listen to what she says even though I know that she's not human because I'm desperate to get out of here. I look around to find a water source. Thankfully, there was a small river not far from there. I immediately did ablution and then returned to the rock and tried to close my eyes. I finally fell asleep. It wasn't long before I slept. I felt someone wake me up. When I woke up, there were already many residents and 6 of my friends who had been looking for me for 3 days. They found me sleeping beside the hiking route, even though they were going up and down the mountain through that route to search me. But only this afternoon, when they were about to go down, they see me just lying down on the side of the rock. I'm so thankful that I'm safe and able to get out from there.